Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to do a horoscope for Vladimir Putin, the Prime Minister or President from Russia. So I'm going to look at his astrology chart. I've already got my notes up, so I'll show you his chart, and we can also look at what's happening over in Europe and where it's going to lead us and moving forward from there. So let's get into it, and I'll share my screen. So share screen. Okay. And again, so just go here. There we go. So this is his chart that I've found. So he is an ascending Scorpio with a Libra sun and a Gemini moon. So he's ascending, so Scorpios can come across as quite secretive and a little bit manipulating there with the Scorpios. They're very loyal people, but you don't want to make an enemy of a Scorpio. So he comes across as a person who, keeps his cards quite close to his chest. He's a person who's quite secretive as well, because he does have a number of planets in the 12th house. But also with the ascending in Scorpio, it's also like impossible to understand or interpret at times with him, with this ascending. Like sometimes you may not even see or know what he's actually thinking or doing, but he wants to master the environment. So he wants to master his surroundings, what he's going to. So he likes he's a person who likes control. Then you've got his sun in Libra. So I actually like Librans. Librans are very nice people. So in this case, with him, I think his ascending is probably more overtakes his sun. But Librans they like things to be even. They like to fight for justice. They're about the scales. They're about they do also cover a bit of law, because they do like things, as I said, to fight for justice a bit too. But also they also they react to setbacks. So they dislike criticisms, but they carry through tasks. So they carry out goals, they get things done, but they're all about being nice, people pleasers too. You'll find Librans like to do everything for everybody else. But in this case with him, he probably likes, I feel like for him it's more about he likes to be in control. So that's why he likes to do everything himself. Then with that Gemini moon, he's probably very likes to learn. Geminis love to learn. They have a thirst for knowledge, which is here. Thirst for knowledge. They also can have a conversation to just about anyone. They're really great networkers. They are natural born networkers, Geminis. So you've got like Donald Trump. He's a sun in Gemini, so you can see with him, he's good. He's really, he sort of sends out, but he's also, Mr. Trump also has a Leo ascending. But here, so with his Gemini moon, so rationalize feelings, repress emotions, needs and dislikes routine, and does several things at once. So he can do multitasking. He doesn't like routine. He can be a bit repressed emotional. Air signs are like that. Air signs are quite a colder, they're kind of colder people out of the zodiac. It doesn't mean they don't have hearts. They do. I'm an Aquarian, but they're just a little bit colder than other star signs. So also here, so he's got Venus in the first house. So he's born with Venus in the first. So with this can actually cloak, when I was researching this, Venus usually in the first house, I say the person's usually quite loving, but the thing that my research that I found was that it can actually cloak a ruthless nature. So as I said, with this guy, I feel like these other energies are sort of covering up his Libra energy. I feel like he likes to feel comfortable. He likes to feel like he's always in control. He will manipulate things to be in his way with that ascending Scorpio. So yeah, and sometimes I find that people with Venus in the first house can actually be quite attractive. But in his case, I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, he's not in my eyes. So I feel like for this one, he does actually have a ruthless nature. So it does cloak that. Now in the second house down here, which is the house of earnings. and self-worth, he's got Mars. So with Mars in this second house here, it's about gives him the courage to know what he wants and to go after what he wants. He'd also be someone who gets quite argumentative if things aren't going to go his way in terms of his job. He's also maybe he probably, having Mars here, he probably has a good self-worth. He probably thinks of himself to be quite good. Now, in the 10th house up here, he's got Pluto. Pluto in the 10th is change. It's constant change. And I've done a little bit of research on him because I didn't know much. And I thought I'll go and have a look. He's actually been sort of a president a few times, prime minister a few times. I'm not too sure how their government system works in Russia. I know that they more tell you what to do. Over there, it's communists. But he's been in and out, and he's a lot of change. So that Pluto there, definitely I can see that working, and it's there throughout his whole life. Whenever I do these first planets first, I'm talking about his whole life and who he is. So he's definitely going to have more change, but he's a person. He can't get his way in his career life with his earnings, money. He gets a bit angry. Frustration. There's also strength in him too. He's been a very powerful player. So he's got the courage to get things done. Then here in the 3rd house, okay, he's got his life lesson in this house, plus he's got Chiron. So his life lesson in this house, and it's actually his life lessons in Aquarius, which I thought was very interesting because it was the same as the Canadian Prime Minister. He had the same thing too, which was the path of evolution. So the soul is assisting the evolution of humanity, the new vibration that brings equality for each and every soul. So what if what he's doing now, so I'm sort of just had a brainwave, what if he's doing this now, and even though we know it's not great what he's doing, and what I feel, which I'll get to later in the video, isn't that great, but what if this is to get people to where they need to go to evolve, which I thought was a unique, interesting take on it. Also, True Node being in this 3rd house. So all that has been learned must now shine through. A karmic debt lessons and promises are confronted with or through a sibling. So Chiron, which is also in his Capricorn, someone who is deeply wounded by what people say, or who is for one reason or another prevented from speaking like personal truths. So he's definitely got this karma about other people speaking badly about him, or he has to find like lessons, and if promises were broken, he definitely has. And it's also in the siblings. So 3rd house is about your neighbors or about siblings too. So if he does have any sisters and brothers, I didn't quite find, I think I did find something, but I dare say he probably wouldn't get along with them. So we got some emotional, we all have a pain somewhere for him to do with his siblings. Or maybe if he doesn't have any siblings, maybe he always wanted them. But he's definitely got some pain about speaking probably truths and personal growth as well with him. Now, his Jupiter's in the 7th house here, so relationships. Now, also Jupiter in the 7th house, he needs someone who is strong. So he needs a confident partner, and that's what he looks for. He might be going over the top in terms of relationships. Jupiter is good. Jupiter's luck. So he actually is a person who, if he was single, not single for long, relationships can last. Now, I know him and his wife, they broke up in 2013. I'm going to go back and show you where the planets, transit planets were at that time. I found it interesting because I looked, whenever someone has good planets, I always look to see what happened at that time, to see why it broke up. And I had a look and I could definitely see why it broke up. Now, then I'm going up to the 8th house, which is the money house. The 8th house is money from others. So he gets very emotional about money from others, perhaps inheritance, taxation. So dealing with other people's money is something he gets emotional about. He would get emotional about having debt. He wouldn't like to have debt. Probably gets emotional about that too. He's also someone he probably needs stability in terms of finances. He probably doesn't, he needs like reserves, he needs things up, because otherwise he's really going to feel insecure, definitely. The ninth house up here, where he's got the Uranus, unexpected in the ninth. So he's probably quite intuitive. I have the same planet here. So quite intuitive. He could be, I don't know about religious, because in the ninth house, it sort of brings either a new belief system or none at all. So he probably has his own unique belief system in terms of religion. He probably, he may not even believe in anything, but he's probably intuitive. So he probably has unexpected travel that comes up for him, probably quite intuitive person. Then on the 10th, the 11th house here, he's got which is the house of friends. So he's got the sun here. So he's definitely someone who's all about friendships, about creating networks, about having, friends behind him. That's where his focus is. There's a lot about relationships that he can create and networking through, I guess, friends and social circles too. Now, he brings a lot of karma in from a past life. He's got a number of planets in this 12th house. This also can bring about secrets. People who have planets here can keep secrets and usually have secrets. So for him, he brings in also karma from like communication. So his communication, he's got Mercury, he's got Neptune, he's got Saturn here in the 12th. He's a person that's going to hide his problems. He's probably not a great communicator. Probably holds a lot in. He's definitely would be a daydreamer, but he probably even hides that as well. I reckon he probably hides his more intuitive side. Probably doesn't let people know that he does this stuff if he does it. But definitely the Mercury there, it brings in shared communication, fair-minded logic, strategic, and he brings this from past life. So it's karma. He brings like the mind in, but he's very strategic, having Mercury here and having Mercury in that Scorpio. It's in Scorpio, so he's very strategic in how he thinks. He's very secretive, I would say, with that there, but he brings in a fair mind too, and logic as well. I think actually the Mercury is actually in Libra, on the cusp of Libra. It's coming to Libra here, even though it looks like it's in Scorpio. Look at that line, which is up here. Now, he also brings from karma of delusion and deception. So he also brings that sort of karma into this life. He also brings in a very heavy load. Saturn can indicate a very heavy karmic load that he brings in. So he's bringing all this into this lifetime. Now, when I'm going through transits, the one thing that stood out with me with him, these transits, he's got Saturn over the true node. So yes, so he's got Saturn over his true node, his life lessons. This is like I call like destiny points when you've got transits over here in your true node. And this is actually an interesting one. So it brings back his change, like he was a person who'd be wanting change, craving change, seeing change in his life. He would be like he'd want recognition in his work and personal life, particularly if he's working towards a goal and have started to build a foundation or platform which he can grow from people coming into his life to help him. So with this transit down here with the Saturn over the true node, he's definitely a person who is bringing people into his life that can help him achieve his goals in what he wants to create. In this case, I feel like it's not just him, it's a whole group of people. Like he's created an alliance, a little party, and they have an agenda and they're planning something, which I'll go through in a moment. He's definitely with this new moon coming up. So he's going to have in this third house with neighbors and siblings, he's going to have, so you got Venus, Mars, and Pluto all meeting together. This is going to be a really big, I feel like, unstable energy for him that's going to come out with this. And then he's going to have the Mercury with Saturn over this true node. So he's going to get, I feel like, news or communication he may not want to hear. Things may not go according to plan in what they're trying to do this week. Then his Jupiter here, it's in the fourth, so home and family. he probably is looking at moving home, improving his home, making some improvements there, his personal life. Over the last, I'm going to estimate 15 years or more, his home life hasn't been great. He's probably had, he got the divorce there in 2013, but that's on the way out going into relationships. So when Jupiter goes into here in the 5th house, which will be later in the year when we're looking at around May, relationships for him are going to get quite better. He may even meet a new love interest potentially, but relationships will get better for him. At the moment, relationships for him, there's been a bit of pain. Things haven't go according to plan for relationships. It's been like that for a while. And then in next year or the year after, when Neptune fully goes into this 5th house, again, relationships for him aren't going to last. It's not going to work out great for him. And then up here, we've got Uranus in the 7th. So unexpected in the marriage. So unexpected with relationships, marriage. We don't know where it's going to take him, what's going to bring about. So coming up for him, relationships is the key, and it's not going to go well for him. He's also going to have later this year, coming to next year, problems over the home and his family. Probably again, not going to be a great thing for him. At the moment it is, but soon, where the planets are and the thing it's going to create, not great. But for this year alone and in next year, relationship will be a bit better once that Jupiter goes into the 5th. When it sort of next year goes into the 6th, just where the planet moves, and just because of the smaller parts of his chart here, his health will improve, and then we'll go into the 7th. Again, relationship will improve for him. But then after that, relationships aren't going to be looking too good for a little while for him. But he's definitely got a lot of change going on with if he has any sisters and brothers or neighbors, there's definitely a lot of change problems going on, as we can see globally with him. But he's starting it because he wants a plan. He wants things to happen. I'm going to go back and show you why his marriage didn't last back in 2013. So I'm just going to change this date. So I'm going to go 2013. Okay. So back in 2013, the reason why that his marriage did not last and they got divorced was simply because, number one, he's got a lot of things in relationships, this guy, at this time. The marriage house was pretty okay. He would have moved at this time when they sort of set out, he probably would have moved out of the home. But the year before, he actually had good energy when the marriage. So maybe he's still someone new. Maybe they tried to work things out. Jupiter came out, but the stronger energies at play here as well. Okay, in the 5th house, the relationships house, he had Uranus here, relationships and children. So unexpected things going on. And Uranus can be, we find it hard to predict with Uranus. It can be anything. It's unexpected, unusual. Anything can happen. He's got the Neptune and Chiron in the 4th house, the home and family. So that could be breaking up the home and family. There's a lot of pain there for him during this time, dissolve that's been going on. And then he's also had Saturn over Venus. So problem with love and money. So he had this stuff going on, which resulted in a breakup. So that's what the planets were. And yeah, he also had his Pluto hitting his Chiron. That again would have been a lot of pain and a lot of like death, of something coming up, something endings, which of course was his marriage. So he's had so that year was not a good year for relationships for him. That's for sure. Okay, so that's his chart. What I feel like when I've been like meditating on this, I just feel like, as I said before, I feel like this is being planned. Okay, so I feel like we've got at the moment globally we have Chiron in Aries. So I don't think anyone has a country where they're completely happy with their leaders. I think we're all pretty on the same page because Aries is leadership, Chiron is our pain. Things aren't going really well. But I kind of feel like there's these groups going on where certain leaders are with this group, certain leaders in that group there. As we know, China and Russia are, I feel like, built this partnership coming up. And I kind of feel like this little laugh. I kind of I can see the China leader. He's like laughing. So I feel like this has all been planned out, and this is all like a big distraction for what's coming in May. I just feel like May there's something bigger coming, and that's where things are really going to amp up, where we're really going to see more of this sort of war energy and in what's going to come on around the world. So I really feel like that there's two sides at play at the moment, and we're all distracted by what's going on, because this is all part of, I feel like this is all part of their plan. I feel like they planned this from the get-go. And I feel like I just keep on getting told May there's something bigger happening in May. In terms of his chart, I don't feel like whatever they're trying to accomplish, and I feel like it is a kind of World War II kind of stuff, but whatever they are trying to accomplish, I don't feel like it will happen, because he hasn't got good planets in relationships. Yeah, it's going to be okay for now, but ultimately it's not going to be smooth the plan. And I feel like we're looking at a battle of egos with him in the China, even though right now they're planning, even that trip he went over to China for the Olympic Games, I feel like was all manipulating and game for the, I guess, the world, but they were planning, they've made plans. And us, like, we're going to start seeing things more exposed from April, and then it's going to get quite into May. And I feel like, I kind of feel like there's this big explosion, there's this thing where we're all going to, I just feel like this is not what people think it is right now. It's coming up, but we're not here. And it's all part of their plan, is what I feel like coming up. And this is just a distraction. I kind of feel like that and I feel like that the other leaders that are around the world who are trying to stop it are sort of not, it's like, I feel like they all had a plan, and there's a plan within a plan. This is broken away. Now they're running around with their heads chopped off, like they're like chickens. They don't really know what's happening completely. They don't really know what they're doing. They're trying to scramble and try and put band-aids on things to make things fix. But this is, at the end, I feel like it won't work out the way that, I guess, the Russia-China alliance, and that I think it's like North Korea is going to be in this as well. And the other countries that will go on their side, it won't work out. Some cards and just see what's happening on him. Okay. I feel like everyone's going to be fearful. Everyone's sort of going this fearful mode where we don't know. Just rest assured it's going to be okay. In saying that too, just be prepared for what we don't know. We just don't know what this stuff looks like in our time. We know from our grandparents' time, from their stories. What I would suggest is just, get torches, just be prepared for anything, any possibilities. Just be prepared for what if. That's what I would suggest. Okay. What have we got here? Sneaky. I'm going to do 2 decks just to see what I get from 2 decks that I've got here. Yeah, him and the guy, the China person, they're like thick as thieves. They're in this together. They've built up this plan. They think they've got it. They think they can pull the wool over their eyes of everyone else. And they've been very strategic in what they're doing. As I said, it's like evil because evil. We've got, I guess we've got to see which is the lesser evil. That's gonna come out with all this, but they've definitely got a plan. They've definitely been in partnership. This Vladimir Putin thinks that ultimately he has it over the China guy. He thinks that he has the power. He's very scrutiny. He's definitely trying to weasel his way in there in Europe. It will affect all the other countries around. Because I said everyone's scrambling, trying to get things, done. There's them, but there's also 3 other people doing their bidding. So I feel like these are other countries, perhaps, that perhaps like you got like maybe North Korea, and then there was another country in the Middle East, I think in partnership with them too. But there's another one. So there's like three. It's like they're the bosses, or we want to say the main villains or the main people. And then we've got like their minions, like what, which is this, like the minions, the ones who are like lesser down, who get told little bits here and there. As I said, I feel like this is going to go till 2024, perhaps, maybe a bit longer. Like the world is, as we know it, is definitely changing. We're definitely looking at, different challenging times ahead coming up. We've already gone through so much, and there's a bit more coming up. But he needs to be careful, really, who he trusts. He really needs to realize, and, he knows that. He knows he can't trust his partnership he's doing fully. He knows there's no one else there to support him, but they're creating this big, so ultimately he wants to be this I feel like this is him, really want to create this world. They've got this vision of what sort of world they want to create, but it's not a stable world. At the moment, with the other countries trying to fight back, they're like kind of brushing it off. Because they've got reserves, they've got things like he's been prepared for this. Like there's a plan, and there's like tactics involved, and I feel like he knew if they were going to do this, he was going to do that. This is a very destiny point in his life to even get goals done and people to come and help him. But ultimately, let's see, let's have a look on. Let's try and get an outcome on this to see ultimately what's going to happen. Will he succeed in his plans or in their plans? Global attacks are imminent. I feel like global attacks and cyber attacks is imminent coming up for other countries around the world. Everyone's trying to tiptoe around certain things. It's always like some people are scared. As I said, if you watch my Biden video, I just see there's things in Biden, China coming up next month, or March coming up. Just be aware. All comes today with the cards. It's just the weather. I've got here. Okay. Have a look. Okay, as I said, everyone's going on blind. He's going to trap himself. He's going to, look, there's going to be a downfall with this. And I feel like we're going to see a downfall more next year in around July. It's like he's going to be doing some sort of juggling act. And he's definitely looking to be in charge. There's no victory card here that I've got coming out for this. He's definitely trying to lead the charge and put the ball over people's eyes. He's definitely seeking truth, and he's sort of sitting back now, seeing what people are going to play, what are they going to do. But ultimately, he's going to trap himself. This isn't going to work out the way that he had planned, because I feel like when you've got two egos coming together, it's like something's got to give, because they can't work in that partnership. Right now, they're in partnership, but come next July, the partnership is going to break because it's just too much ego coming in together, and they won't be able to get it together to take this where they want to go. So there is a lot of challenges coming up for him at bay. He's definitely trying to pick the right route, but I just don't feel like it's going to win. So I will leave it there for now. So if anything else comes up, I will definitely address it in a video. But for now, I'll leave that there because I know it's probably a bit of a long video. If you like me to do horoscopes for anyone else, please put them in the comments down, and I will look at doing them coming up in the future. Thank you for liking, sharing in your comments, and I will see you for my next video soon. So bye for now.